Do you want a beautiful saxophone tone every time you play? After years of teaching, I found one easy embouchure anyone can master for instant results. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to copy my embouchure and finally get that beautiful sax sound you've always wanted. Let me start by saying that I struggled with embouchure for many years. Not because it's particularly difficult, but because it's typically taught as a one-size-fits-all approach. The problem is we are all so different physically that what works for one saxophone player won't be exactly the same for another. That's why I teach embouchure in a different way. You might come across saxophone teachers who insist their method is the only correct way, but this rigid thinking is precisely why so many students continue to struggle. Instead, I'm going to share a few simple, adaptable guidelines that anyone can use. By following these, you're likely going to sound better immediately, be able to play for much longer without getting tired, stop squeaking and chirping, and eliminate any pain or discomfort you may feel after playing for a while. Your top teeth are going to rest on top of the mouthpiece. This is why I use mouthpiece patches. The feeling of my teeth on a hard surface is kind of unpleasant to me, and the patch protects the mouthpiece from nasty teeth marks. The patch is also a very good indicator of whether or not you're biting too hard. I'm going to go into detail a bit later on how much pressure you should be using, but if your mouthpiece patches are wearing out quickly, you're biting too hard. This patch has been on my mouthpiece for a few years and still has not been worn through. Now that we know what to do with our top teeth, what about the bottom part of our mouth? Your bottom lip acts as a cushion for the reed to vibrate on. The reed needs this padding to produce a pleasant, controlled sound. Most people aren't aware of this, but cane saxophone reeds are essentially just pieces of grass. Have you ever held a blade of grass between your fingers and blown through it, creating a high-pitched whistle? Now, think of the horrible squeak sound that sometimes comes out of your saxophone. Believe it or not, that's the natural sound a saxophone reed makes when it's allowed to vibrate freely without any control. But by creating a soft lip cushion, we can control that vibration and transform it into something beautiful. Everyone's lips are different in thickness, shape, and size, and that's partly why each saxophone player has their own unique sound. The key takeaway here is simple. The more luxurious and supportive your lower lip cushion, the warmer, rounder, and more beautiful your tone will become. We'll explore exactly how to create this ideal cushion in just a bit, but first, how do we know how much mouthpiece to take into our mouth? And real quick, if you want to get access to the best online saxophone educational materials, click the link in the description to learn more. One of the biggest mistakes saxophone players make is not taking enough mouthpiece into their mouth. Let's make sure you get this right. There is a place where the reed comes in contact with the table of the mouthpiece. If we look at it from the side, we can see it right here. You can even mark this spot on your reed with a pencil to get a nice visual reference. This is approximately the point at which we want to apply very light pressure on the reed. That bottom lip cushion I mentioned earlier gets supported by your bottom teeth. Your lip cushion goes between your teeth and the reed. Your bottom teeth are going to be applying light pressure to that point we marked on the reed where it comes in contact with the mouthpiece table. When I'm doing this, you can see that nearly the entire cut part of the reed is in my mouth. This is going to vary from person to person. It depends on how much over or under bite you have and how cushiony your lips are. The angle at which the saxophone comes into your mouth also affects this. But here's the key takeaway. Most players simply don't take enough mouthpiece in, resulting in a thin, weak sound like this. Not taking enough mouthpiece in is also the cause of a lot of squeaks. If your sound feels thin, weak, or squeaky, experiment with taking slightly more mouthpiece into your mouth. You should immediately notice a fuller, richer tone. Now that we've covered the top teeth, bottom lip cushion, and mouthpiece placement, how do we put all these elements together to create a beautiful sound? Many saxophone players make a critical mistake that results in a shrill and unpleasant sound, getting tired quickly, and even physical pain. I'm going to show you a simple way to avoid all that and get a beautiful sound. Earlier, I told you that our bottom teeth should be applying very light pressure, just supporting that lower lip cushion and allowing the reed to vibrate freely in a controlled way. The most common mistake here is biting down too hard, and almost everyone does this to some degree. When we bite down too hard, we limit the vibration of the reed, which results in a shrill and unpleasant sound. We tire our embouchure muscles out, which leads to playing out of tune and a bad sound. We make it nearly impossible to get the lower notes out cleanly, and we can even hurt our bottom lip. There are two main reasons that we bite down too hard. Reason number one, our reeds are too hard. This is extremely easy to fix. Just get softer reeds. A lot of people end up playing on the reeds that their teacher tells them to play on, and often those are way too hard. Not just for the students, but sometimes for the teachers too. When the reed is too hard, you have to bite down just to get a sound, and you get all the problems that come along with biting. The second reason we bite down too hard is tension. Most saxophone students are playing with a lot of tension in their bodies, mainly in the hands, shoulders, neck, and jaw. I want you to relax all that unnecessary tension and loosen up. Try this. Set up your embouchure, but extremely loose. So loose that when you blow, no sound comes out. While continuing to blow, I want you to very slowly increase the pressure from the bottom lip until the sound starts. This is close to the amount of pressure we want to be using at all times. You really only need slightly more pressure than the absolute minimum required to get a sound. By using the proper strength reeds and less jaw pressure, we will get a much rounder, warmer, and more beautiful tone. We will also be able to play for much longer without getting tired and avoid pain in our bottom lip. Now, there's one more trick I want to share with you that helps bring everything you've learned so far together in an easy way. We know that a very cushiony bottom lip is key to getting a warm, round, and beautiful saxophone sound. But how do we maintain that luxurious lip cushion? I want you to think of your mouth like a drawstring bag. As we pull the string, it closes, applying equal pressure on all sides. By treating our embouchure like a drawstring bag, two very important things happen. Number one, our bottom lip gets scrunched together, creating maximum cushion. And number two, applying pressure from the sides of our mouth, we reduce the tendency to bite from below. As long as we're using reeds that are not too hard, keeping our embouchure muscles in shape by playing every day, and not biting down too hard on the reed, we should be able to maintain this drawstring bag shape for long playing sessions. Now, with all these changes you're going to make with your embouchure, you can expect the tuning to change as well. And here's how to deal with that. Once you loosen up, your pitch will likely drop quite a bit, which will mean you can push your mouthpiece further in on the neck cork to be in tune. You may notice some of your favorite saxophone players playing with the mouthpiece pushed in very far. That's because they're all doing the things I talked about in this video. Not biting, taking enough mouthpiece in, and using the proper strength reeds. If your mouthpiece needs to be pulled out quite far on the cork, that is an indication that you may be putting too much pressure on the reed. Biting will cause the pitch to go up, making you play sharp. The exact position of a mouthpiece on any given neck cork can vary quite a lot. It's going to depend on the saxophone player, the mouthpiece, the reed, the temperature, the saxophone, the length of the neck cork, and even other factors. Now that you have these easy embouchure guidelines to copy, you need to practice. And there is one exercise that I have found to be extremely useful for developing embouchure strength, accurate intonation, and a beautiful sound. I made this video to show you exactly how to practice all this so you can just copy me. And if you want to access the best online saxophone educational content, click the link in the description to learn more.